Hey everybody, welcome back to Mr. Rogers' afternoon clay class. We're working on coil pots today. This is part 4 of a coil pot series. Here's a coil pot I made yesterday and part of it today. This section is leather hard right here. This section here is soft. Just added this on. And I've pre-rolled and flattened a few coils here to finish the height of this coil pot. That is going to be a mug. It's going to be a coffee mug. It will have a handle. So I want this mug to be a little taller than it is right now. It has a 4-inch diameter as clay, and when it gets fired, when it dries and gets fired, it will lose about 10%, 12% of that 4 inches. So it'll end up being about 3.5 inches in diameter out of the kiln, which is decent for a cup or a mug. So you kind of have to pre-plan how big you make things because of how much they shrink in the kiln. Some clay bodies shrink considerably more than others. This is standard 181 and it shrinks about 12% or so. All right, so make a little ramp right here. Make sure you're making these ramps so you don't end up with any air pockets or gaps or daylight. So this mug is just the basic cylinder shape, a straight shot cylinder. No curves, no areas where the pot gets wider or narrower, no necks and no bellies, if you will. That'll be later. We learn that in a later video. It's not that difficult. It's almost, once you learn that, it's almost more difficult to make the pot go perfectly vertical. So I've added on a few inches here, and I'm going to have a little bit of a difficulty to get in there and to smooth out the inside. So I'll take my scoring tool and I'm going to smooth out the inside, first by roughing it up. With the scratcher tool, with the serrated rib piece. And my hands are kind of big, so I can only reach down so far, so I have to do this kind of as I go. So this is the second time I've smoothed out the inside. I did the lower section in a previous video. I smoothed out the lower section. Now I'm smoothing out the top section. So there it is, all scratched up. And I'll take my smooth rib and I will clean it first. And use that edge to then smooth and blend all that scratching away. And what this does, it really marries the coils together and makes the bond that much stronger. So the pot will be less likely to crack as it dries. Smoothing and blending It is a crucial step while coiling. If it is skipped, you will not enjoy coiling. Your pots will not stay together. All right, looks pretty good. Now there's some areas I couldn't quite reach, so I'm going to take this wooden knife that has a little scoopy part here, and I'm going to blend that. Now there is a seam in there where the soft clay meets the leather hard clay. And I'm going to try to make that seam go away. So I'm going to take this coil here and make a real skinny coil. That looks pretty good. Might not get all the way around, but I'll get close. And I'm going to set this in here and try to smash it in that seam all the way around. And this will strengthen that bond between the leather hard section and that soft section. Take a peek in there. You can see that goes almost all the way around. I need just a little piece to finish that. Just a couple inches. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to smash that in really well. Take my thumb on the outside and my index on the inside. And smash that coil into that seam. All right, flatten it out pretty nicely. Then I'll take this tool and I will blend and smooth. Looks pretty good. All right, I'll take my rib and do one more sweep of this. Don't make that a little more consistent. All right, I take a peek in there. Seam is now gone. And that will make the coil pot very strong. All right, so all that kind of upset my rim a little bit, so I'll set that back flat and add this last coil. Now, this is going to give me the height I want, but my top will not be level. I do want a level top, but that's not something I want to take care of today. It's something I want to take care of when the pot is a soft leather hard. I will level the whole thing out tomorrow. Now I want to set these coils in place. Really smash them together. All right, looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna pinch these a little more narrow. If this is for drinking, then you want the rim to be relatively narrow and not too wide. If you ever try to drink out of a wide lipped mug, you can have some dribbling. So I'm pinching this last 3 or 4 coils a little more narrow. I'm stretching the clay up just a bit. And it'll be much easier to cut level at leather hard tomorrow. All right, you can see how unlevel it is. We have a low spot here, a low spot here, a high spot here, high spot here. So tomorrow I'll take a knife and I'll find the lowest spot and then start cutting everything flat and at the same height. And then I will clean up the texture on the outside of this. All right, here's a coil mug. This will also get a handle tomorrow when everything's at leather hard. Thanks for watching. I think this was part 5.